Can anyone tell me what did we do in the previous class? Who am I? Ayush, I guess you are trying to speak something, but you're not at all audible to me.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, happy Diwali.
I asked what did we do in the previous class, Ayush?
Ma'am, JWT authentication.
Okay, and did we test our APIs in the previous class?
Yes, ma'am.
And I hope you people might have implemented your APIs and might have tested them as well. So today, what are we going to do is we are going to learn certain concepts of React, like creation of a React folder and where to insert our codes in React. And before that, let me share my screen with you people. Okay. I hope the screen is visible to all and there are no issues with my screen. Now, if we look into our, yeah. So if we look over here for the roadmap, we are having, after the JWT authentication, we have also implemented the protected routes in the previous class. And how did we implement that? We have implemented in such a way that certain routes are there for the admin only, for which we have also taken the role of the user. So what are we doing? We are just comparing if the role of the particular user who is trying to access a particular API endpoint, from where will the uh, from where are we going to take the role of the user? From the JWT authentication itself. Why? Because in the payload of the JWT authentication, the role itself lies. The entire data of the user lies inside the payload only. So we can extract the role of the user from the JWT authentication, and using that role, we can provide the protected routes and enable a particular user who is an admin to access certain endpoints. So this is how we have performed the protected routes in the previous class also. Now we are going to see how we are going to create a particular React file inside our VS Code. So there is a specific command in VS Code that we write in order to create a React file. And what is that command? That is, let me create a new folder over here. Okay. Inside the beat and JWT, I'm going to create a new folder, which I will name as frontend. All right. And here, what I'm going to do is, I'll write npm. Okay, let me change the directory. cd and then beaten jwt. Okay. So here I will write npm create white @latest, and then I will name the folder, that is React app. This is the name of the folder inside which the entire React folder will get generated. And after that, that's it. And here I will provide Y. And here I have to select the framework which I'll be working on. So if you want to work on Angular, then you people can select Angular. And if you people want to work on React, then you people can also select React. So here I'm going to choose React. And here I will prefer the language as JavaScript. So it's taking a little time to get installed.
Ma'am, can you please repeat it again?
Can you please tell me what are you trying to speak? Like I'm not able to hear your voice properly. What do you want me to repeat?
Ma'am, the part of installation of React.
Okay, let me provide the command for you people to paste in your VS Code in the chat box. npm create white @latest, and then whichever folder name you want to provide to your front end folder. Say for example, I want to provide the name of my folder as React app. So this is how you just have to provide the command in your VS Code. And if you people have installed Node.js, then it will install your entire React app inside this folder only. Am I clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, what do I have to do? I have to create certain components which I will integrate together in order to create a full-fledged front end, right? So here, what I'm going to do is I will create certain files. See here, if I will click on this particular link, see it is saying follow control plus click to follow the link. So I will click the control key on my keyboard and then I will click on the link with the help of my touchpad. So this page which you are seeing is nothing but the boilerplate code of the React app which has got generated. Can you people see what all things do we have in our screen?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
It's a white logo and there's a React animated logo, isn't it? Along with that, we are having a text and then there is a counter button. What will happen if we click on that button? The number of times we are going to click on that button, the counter is going to get increased. See? So this is how, what are we going to do? We are going to create this type of reactive front end with the help of React, right? So here, how to erase that entire boilerplate code? That entire boilerplate code lies inside. Just a second. See, here is the React app, right? And inside the React app, there is a folder named SRC. Can you people see this folder? And inside this folder, we are having our app.jsx. This is where the boilerplate code of React lies. And whichever thing we have just screened in our output are present over here. First, we saw a couple of logos, that is the white logo and then the React logo. After that, we have also seen an H1 tag. And then we also saw a counter button. And after that, we saw certain paragraphs. So if we want to remove that entire page, the entire boilerplate code, and we want to create our own page, right? So what do we have to do? We just have to remove the entire thing which is present over here. I will remove these things. I will remove it as well. I'll remove this whole thing. And along with that, I will remove this also. Or if you want, you can select the entire thing and remove and then save it by clicking on Ctrl plus S keys. And after that, if you visit that page again and refresh it, any people see there is nothing on this page? So this proves what? This is the entry point of our front-end folder, isn't it? So whichever data we are going to place inside the app.jsx, we are going to see that particular data in our front-end page. Am I clear till this part?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now I'm going to create certain folders inside which I'm going to place certain files. Inside the SRC, I will place my folder for API. Which API? If I want to fetch the backend APIs which we have created for the JWT token, etc., here I will provide API as a folder, and inside that I will place a JavaScript file, that is api.js extension. So this JS extension makes this an API, makes this a folder. Instead of writing this as api.js, in order to be more specific, we can also write it as auth.js. This is going to be more appropriate. And after that, I will create one more folder which I will name as components. And inside this, I will place protected route dot js. And after that, I will place one more thing over here that is going to be my navbar dot JSX. So, can anyone differentiate between the extension JSX and JS? Any idea that's coming in your mind? See, this JS is nothing but the JavaScript. And what about this JSX? This JSX stands for JavaScript XML. Now, why are we using the JavaScript XML? Because this JavaScript XML is a combination of two things, a JavaScript and an HTML. All right. So, whichever functionality we are going to write in JavaScript, we are going to access those functionality but with the help of HTML elements that we are going to place inside the return method. And we will get to know this, or we'll get to understand it in a much better way if we implement it in our codes. So after that, I will create one more folder in order to provide the context. Context for what? Context for authentication. So for that, I will create auth context dot js. And then finally, instead of creating it a folder, I'll just write it as and inside the context folder, I will provide auth context dot js. And then finally, I am going to create certain pages. And what are the pages that I require? Can anyone tell me? If we have implemented the login and registration backend in our JWT, what kind of pages do I have to create? Any
Login and
idea?
registration.
Great. We have to create the login and registration pages. So here, I will create one more folder that is pages. And inside that, I will place certain JSX file. So here I will provide login.jsx. And inside the pages, along with the login, I will provide signup.jsx. And then I will provide a dashboard as well as a home page. So here I will provide dashboard.jsx and home.jsx. Okay. So these are the things that we have to create inside the SRC folder. So if you are not going to place any of these files inside the SRC folder, you will not be able to include them in your app.jsx. So whenever you are creating this type of file structure, just make sure that you create them inside the SRC folder. Now what we are going to do? We are going to write certain codes in our auth context.jsx. Over here, what I will do, I have to use certain React hooks. Now you might be wondering, what do we actually mean by the React hook? So in order to understand the React hooks, you people need to understand what are the life cycle of React, right? So whenever you're talking about the life cycle of React, at that time, you will come across a term that is mounting, right? So what do we actually mean by mounting? Yeah, sure, Amol. You can obviously use Redux instead of use context. So, Amol, if you have the knowledge about Redux, then can you tell me how is Redux different from use context, and in which cases will you be deciding whether you have to use the Redux or use context?
Ma'am,
Amol, am I
basically in
audible?
terms of the yes, ma'am. Ma'am, basically in terms of architecture design, whole use context and Redux are similar in working the store, but for the most of So it's basically it has authorizations and authentication systems that use context doesn't have. So we use the context for small
Amol, your voice
applications,
is
as
cracking
I
a
know.
lot here.
Am I, my voice is clear now, ma'am?
Yeah, this time it's clear. Can you please repeat?
Ma'am, actually, in terms of store architecture design, both use context and Redux are the same. But specifically, Redux is used for large scale applications, and the use context is get used for the smaller applications. So basically, the
Okay,
authorization system is included in the Redux.
all right. So, can you provide me one advantage where Redux proves to be better than use context? And how is Redux different from use context? We all know that it helps us in order to work with the props, right? So, how is Redux better than use context?
Ma'am, as I learned, actually, I saw the both having same advantages. The basic difference is what I said. So that's all.
Okay, we will learn this in a much better way once I provide the entire data about the React and why are we using the hooks in React. All right. So, what was I saying about? Okay, I was
Ma'am,
speaking about
React
the
component
mounting.
cycle, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, React lifecycle. Over there, we will come across a term that is mounting. What do we exactly mean by mounting? See, whenever we work with React, there is a DOM, all right, and then comes a virtual DOM. Now, what happens whenever we try to create certain changes in our React app? What happens instead of changing the entire DOM, which proves to be much uh, um, expensive, or you can also say it's also time taking as compared to the virtual DOM. So instead of making a change in the whole DOM, what do? We provide certain changes in the virtual DOM, which is a very fast process, right? Now, what will happen if we want to make certain changes? There comes a tree where the DOM decides in which part of the tree does it have to make a change. So, say for example, there's a website. That is Agio, right? So, what I want is I want to change the state uh, of this drop down. All right. So, instead of changing the entire page, I can just create a change in this page only. If I want to change the color of this home and kitchen from black to gray, at that time, I do not have to change the whole page in order to change this particular text. Instead, what do I have to do? I just have to create a specific change in my virtual DOM. And now, what will happen? That virtual DOM will compare the changes that it has to make to the actual DOM, right? And then instead of changing the whole page, it will only find out that particular component where it has to make the change. That is what we call reconciliation, isn't it? Am I clear till this part? Any doubt for you people?
No.
Okay. So now there are different life cycles of React. Okay. So the life cycle provides the component that we have to create. Then, after creating the component, on which component do we have to place which component? Say, for example, this is a nav bar. After the nav bar, I want to place this entire banner. And after this banner, I have to provide this small carousel, isn't it? And after the carousel, there are different banners which are placed one after the another, which we call mounting in terms of the React cycle. Whichever component we are creating, we are mounting them one after the another. So this is how the React lifecycle is replaced by certain hooks. So here, whenever we are dealing with React, there are many hooks in React. All right. But primarily, we are going to use three types of hooks. First one is the use state hook. And then comes the use effect hook. And after that comes the use context. We are going to use this use context hook in today's not in today's, but in order to understand them in a better way, we have to write 1 to 2 codes for them regarding by implementing the each use for them, right? So in today's class we will try to implement this use context, and I will tell you why do we use this use context. So here inside the auth context.js, what do I have to do? I have to import certain things from the React library. First I will import React, and after that I will import the create context, and then I will import the use effect, and after that I will import the use state from React. Now what do I have to do? I have to install one more thing if it's not present inside my package.json file. Yeah. So here I have to install the React router DOM. Now people will ask me, what is the need of installing the React router DOM? So if we go back to our main page, that is the azure.com. So if I click on the main section, to which page it is taking me? Can anyone tell me?
Shop.
And if I click on this, bar is constant, but the content which is present inside the nav bar are only changing. So this means what? We are just providing the routing for each and every page, isn't it? From the main page, we can navigate to whichever page we want, right? So how is this feature added? With the help of routing only. So in order to provide routing in our front end, we need to install the React router DOM in our front end folder. For that, I will write npm install React router DOM. Let me change the directory. Yeah. So we can see that the React router DOM has been installed. So after that, what I'm going to do, I was present in my auth context.js. So here is for providing the routing in the different pages, what do I have to do? I have to import the use navigate from the React router DOM. So this use navigate is used in order to navigate from one page to another page. Now what do I have to do? I have to create a variable, that is export const and then auth context is equal to, here I will write create context so that I can assign this create context to this auth context. And after that, what I am going to do, I will create one more variable, that is export const auth provider is equal to, here I will do what? I will place a property, that is children. Now, here are a few things which we have to learn before using this children. So how many of you do have the knowledge regarding inheritance in Java? Just raise your hands. Okay. Ganesh, are you there? Can you open your mic?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So Ganesh, what do you mean by inheritance in Java?
Inheriting parents' property to the child property, so child can access the method and methods inside parent.
Great. So in inheritance, what do? We the child property can access certain methods which are present inside the parent class. Any method, any property which is present inside the parent class, right? So what we are going to do is, let's take an example where I have to access a property which is present inside my dashboard.jsx. All right. In which file do I have to take from? I have to take that particular property from my signup.jsx. All right. Inside the signup.jsx file, I have that particular property. I want to use that property inside that dashboard.jsx. So, how do we do that? In order to perform that kind of inheritance, we use the React props. Now, what do we mean by React props? The React props are used in order to pass the properties from parent to the child. Alright, so this is what we do in the React props. Say for example, we will have 15 to 20 files inside these pages, right? So do I have to pass that particular prop inside each file in order to reach this dashboard.jsx? Of course, we are going to see the implementation of props and what is the implementation of function, all those things later on. But before that, can anyone tell me, will it become too very hectic or very clumsy if we pass that particular property from each file which is present over here? Or will that become easy if from which file I want the property, I just mention some kind of thing in this dashboard.jsx so that I can directly access that property from the signup.jsx? Which is going to be the better way? Providing a chain in
Definitely
each
the
and
second
every
one.
file. Yeah, please repeat.
Definitely the second one, ma'am, because if we provide the detail to each and every file in the chain, then unnecessary files will also get access to that particular content. That they
Exactly. So instead of passing the properties through each and every file which is present, we can just use the use context in order to pass that property into that particular file where it is required, avoiding the unnecessary usage of that prop inside different files. And this is what we call prop drilling. So what is the use of using this use context and create context? These things help us in order to avoid the prop drilling. All right. So here, that is why what I have done inside the auth context.js, I have passed children as the parameter. Children are what? Children are those things which I want to use from the parent class, right? So inside the children, I will create one more variable in order to store this use navigate. So instead of writing this use navigate again and again, I will just write navigate is equal to, I will assign the use navigate to this variable that I have imported from the React router DOM. And after assigning it, I am going to use a variable, a variable and as well as a function. Inside what? Inside an array. So this is the array that I have placed. Inside the array, I will create a variable user and a function that is set user is equal to, here I will use the use state hook. And inside that, I will initialize the value of this user with null. Which means what? The initial value which is stored inside this user variable is null. And after that, similarly, I am going to create one more variable and one more function. Const, this time the variable is token. And then one more variable is set token is equal to, here I will use the use state hook, and inside that I will use the local storage dot get item. Inside that I will provide the token, and if the token is not present, then it will return an empty string. Alright, so where are we fetching this token from? We are fetching this token from the backend. And what do we mean by this local storage? So if we go to our React app, and if we right click on this and go to the inspect, and here if we will go to developer resources, yeah, inside the application, can you people see the storage over here? Local storage, session storage, all these things, keys, etc.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
so whichever data which we want to store in our front end file, we are going to store it inside the local storage. Can anyone tell me what do you people mean by the statelessness of the HTTP? Any idea? What do we mean by the statelessness of HTTP?
Actually, ma'am, HTTP doesn't hold any memory. We always have to request particular parameter from to that. So this architecture doesn't saves the state of particular data or variable.
Yeah, this means that if you are providing your credential in that particular website, that is your email and password. So the next time you will try to visit that website, that will forget your existence, who you are, whichever your credential is. So that is what we call the statelessness of HTTP. Whichever data you are providing over there will not get stored. So if you go a step back and then move a step forward in order to move to the same page where you have authenticated yourself to be a legal user, at that time, that particular page will not recognize you. So in order to avoid that, we can also use the local storage in order to store our data. So from the local storage only, we are getting our token, which has got generated in our backend. Alright. And after taking the token, we will use the use effect hook. So now the question arises, why are we using the use effect hook? This use effect hook is used in order to provide the side effects. So you people obviously have used the YouTube, right? And you people might have subscribed to different channels of YouTube, isn't it? So in
Yes,
order to
ma'am.
provide subscription effects or in order to provide different kind of side effects, this kind of use effect hook is used. Now, after the use effect hook, what else did we use? We used the use state hook. So from the name itself, we are able to know that this use state hook is used in order to change a particular state of a particular component. Now, what do we mean by the change in state of a particular component? Say, for example, uh, in the kids section, if I want to see footwear and accessories, right? And what I want to add this item. And if I will click on this add to bag, See, the state of the button got changed, isn't it? Previously, it was add to bag, and now the same button shows go to bag. Are people able to see it?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is what we call the change in state of a particular component. So depending on our action, there occurs the change in state of a particular component. Let it be a button, let it be a drop down, let it be anything or any icon which is present in our entire folder. Understood? So that is why we use the use state in order to change a particular state of a component. So since we are using this use state hook, can anyone tell me inside the user, if I'm storing null with the help of use state, what I exactly want to do with this user? Obviously, I want to change the state of the user, isn't it? How am I going to change the state of the user? On the basis of the token that I'm receiving from the backend. Initially, the value was null. And when I will receive the token from the backend, the name of the user will get stored inside this user variable. Am I making sense over here?
Yeah, ma'am.
Is there any difficulty in understanding why are we using these hooks? Anything if you want me to repeat? Is there anything you people want me to repeat?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
All right. No, ma'am. So, what? All right. What do we do inside this use effect hook? We place an arrow function inside this use effect hook. So, if we are placing an arrow function inside the use effect hook, that means with the help of this use effect hook, we want to perform certain tasks, isn't it? So, what kind of task are we going to perform over here? We are placing a condition inside the if condition. That is, if the token is present inside the local storage, on the basis of that token, what we will do? We will call the set user function which we have declared inside the array. And with the help of the set user function, what we will do? We will set the name as John Doe, right? And after that, in order to perform this entire thing, we require the token. From the token itself, we will take the name, isn't it? So, if we have to use the token in order to perform this entire thing, we have to pass the token inside an array, which we will place inside the use effect hook. So this is the thing that we want our use effect hook to perform. Take the token from the local storage, set the name to the user variable. So this name now will be assigned to the user variable. Now can you see how the state of the user variable is changing when we are setting the name? Is there any doubt to this part? Any kind of doubt?
Ma'am, one doubt I have.
Yeah.
Ma'am, which is the best practice to store token, either in local storage or in the HTTP only cookie?
HTTP only cookie is the best way to store the token. So, all right. Before proceeding that, can you tell me why do we use the HTTP only cookie in order to prevent which type of attack?
Ma'am, if simple cookie, hackers can also get that cookie by using JavaScript, but in HTTP only cookie,
Amol, again, there is an issue with your voice. Hello.
Ma'am, he was saying that we cannot access the HTTP only cookies. Suppose if a hacker got someone else laptop access and he executed the
See,
JavaScript on the page.
Yeah.
That's
So
fine.
that attack is known as cross-site scripting, right? So
Yes, ma'am.
there is a yeah. So there is a vulnerability for the token to get stolen by the attackers, right? So at that time, what happens? They perform the cross-site scripting attack in order to steal a token from your web page. So instead of storing it in your local storage, we just have to use the HTTP only cookies, right? So that is something that we will learn on the later stages. This time we are just learning for what are the hooks are and all these things. So in order to change the state of a particular variable, we are just storing it in a local storage. But HTTP only cookie is the best way to use to store the token. So after that comes our one more function, that is the login function. So here I will create a variable login to which I will assign an arrow function. And to that arrow function, I will take the token as parameter. And inside the function, I will use the local storage dot set item. Inside that, I will use the token variable in order to store the value of the token. And after that, with the help of the set token method, I will assign the value of the token to this token variable. Set token and then pass the token inside it. After that, use the set user function to set the name of the user as John Doe. And after that, navigate to the dashboard. Can anyone assume what thing are we actually trying to implement over here?
Ma'am, in the use effect, we are checking if the token is present. If it's present, we set the user variable value to John Doe, and then every time if the token changes, we will call it again to change.
Exactly. So what is happening? When a user is trying to log in, and the login code we have seen in the previous class also, the user will provide his name as well as not his name, his email and password at the time of login, right? And a token will get generated. From that token only, it will derive the name of the user, that is John Doe. And then after logging in, the user will get navigated to the dashboard page. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And now, what happens when the user will try to log out of that page? Const logout is equal to an arrow function. Inside this, I will write local storage, and when the user will log out, at that time I will remove the token from the local storage also. So remove item, that is token. And then what we will do, with the help of set token function, we will again provide an empty string to the token variable once the user logs out. And then to the set user, we will again assign the null value. See the state of change which is happening with the help of this use state hook and these two functions. And after that, navigate again to the login page. Understood till this part? Is there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Now, as I have said, that this entire thing, let me rename it. So, the JSX file is a combination of JavaScript as well as HTML. So here, where do we write the HTML code? Inside the return method. And inside the return method, we will use the auth context auth context dot provider in order to pass the values. Which type of values? Value is equal to user followed by the token, login as well as logout. Inside this, I will place the children. Is there any doubt understanding these things? What are we doing? We are just passing the props. What are the props over here? The user, token, login, and logout. These are the four props which will be passed to each and every children of this auth context.jsx. Now, depending upon where do we want to use them, we can use those props inside any pages. And you will understand it in a much better way once we will implement the actual use of prop drilling. At that time, you will understand how the create context and use context are actually being helpful in order to prevent the prop drilling. And after that, we'll just have to write export default followed by the function name, that is the auth provider. And then save it. Any doubt till this part? Now we will see in which page do we actually have to use that auth context that we are using over here, right? So what are we doing? We will go to our protected route over here. Inside this protected route, what do I have to do? I have to import React, comma, the use context hook. Why am I importing the use context hook? Because I have to use the context that I have created over here, the auth context. From where am I going to import that? From React. And here, I will also import the navigate from React Router DOM. And after that, I will also import the auth context that I have declared inside this auth context folder. And here, I will create one more function. And the name of that function is going to be protected route. An arrow function to which I will take children as the parameter. Inside this, I will again take the token, right? Const token is equal to, with the help of this use context hook, I will use the auth context in this particular part. And after that, I will place a condition. If the token is not there, then what will happen? Then it will return a particular tag. Return. Here I will provide the navigate tag. To which page it will be navigated? To the login page, if the token is not present. Alright. And then if the token is present, then what will happen? Then return the children. And now I will finally export this protected route. Now I will save it. So now for you people, there is a work. Is there, if any doubt is there, in these two files that I have shown you today, and I have written the code that you people can ask your doubts. Any single line in which you have the even a single thing that why is this thing written inside this line? No doubt is there, I guess. All right. If you people are not having any kind of doubt, then we can carry on this entire thing in the next class. And before that, I will be teaching you how to implement the props and how to implement the hook. And then I will teach you how to avoid using of the prop drilling, like how to avoid the prop drilling and how is the use context better. And if we get the time, and if we will get the time, we will also learn about the redux. How is the redux helpful, proves to be helpful than use context. All right. Bye, everyone.
Ma'am, one doubt. Ma'am, one thing to ask.
Yeah, Yogesh.
Hello. Yeah, ma'am. I was asking that are we going to get the recordings of the classes because sometimes we are not able to join or we are joining at the half of the class. So can we get the full recordings of the classes?
Yeah, Yogesh, you will get each and every recording of the classes. Just wait for a single day or a couple of days. You will get all those things.
Is there any elements also or just the WhatsApp groups?
Yogesh, your voice is cracking.
Ma'am, I'm asking that is there any LMS or any dedicated platform for that or only WhatsApp?
An LMS is there, but you are going to get the link for the recorded lectures in your WhatsApp. Okay.
Ma'am, what about the mentor's assignment for every team?
That will be provided to you by the support team only. I don't have any idea regarding that.
And how we can contact to them?
Write a mail to the support team. I guess you people might have the email ID of the support team. And after writing the email ID, just wait for one day or a couple of days, but you people get the reply back. Don't worry about that.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Right. Bye, everyone.
Good night, guys.